I would consider myself by pretty much all means a pretty average person. Average height, maybe a little below average weight. I'm a pretty skinny guy, but by all like physical measures for the most part, I'm not in any way exceptional. And I haven't been really exceptional at anything in particular in my life, or at least nothing that I would say was like crazily exceptional. Like there's always a decent number of kids above me, decent number below. I was just always kind of in the middle, whether it was sports, academics. I mean, I was a 4.0 student, but I went to a school that offered plenty of AP courses, so a large number of students still ended up with 4.2s, 4.4s, 4.6s, whatever. The high school grading scale is weird. So I was good, but I was never the best in that regards. And like I said, pretty standard physical build, right? So I was never able to be great at sports. And I've been thinking a lot recently about what I want to do with my life, what my goals are, what I'm trying to do before I die, so that I feel like I feel fulfilled. I don't want to die and be like, damn, I wish I did more with my time, and I just didn't. And I feel like from when I was like a kid, I had this notion for whatever reason that I was gonna be exceptional at something, and I feel like every kid does to like some extent. Because you feel like, especially like with guys, for whatever reason, you're like, I'm going to be a professional athlete. I'm going to, go to the NFL or whatever. I'm going to go play professional soccer, probably if you're overseas, because I guess they call it football, but whatever. And then I remember when I was in like middle school and Fortnite was really popular. Everybody's like, we're going to become professional gamers and live in a mansion together someday. And you get older and you start to realize, okay, these things, they're not going to happen, right? At least it's not like likely anymore. I'm at the point where I've started college. I'm not playing any sports anymore, so it's not like I'm going to go professional in any sports. And I'm uploading YouTube videos and stuff like that, but I'm not making any revolutionary content, right? These aren't hyper edited view maxing videos, right? These are just me talking to you guys, and kind of just that's it. It's me talking. It's kind of like an online journal. This style of video isn't really built to gouge views and to max out my popularity. I'm just getting my thoughts out there, and maybe you'll get something from it, right? And so I've been struggling with this concept of being average recently, and I feel like there's such a negative connotation with it, like even myself. And the more I like think about being average, the more I realize it's probably not as negative as most people think it is probably not as negative as I've perceived it to be. Because you think about it, average is average for a reason. It's a majority of the population, or at least like the very set middle, right? It's the average. You're not the worst at anything. You're not the best at anything. You're just kind of a normal dude. And at the end of the day, the average people end up where the successful and the unsuccessful people do too. We all die. We all kind of come full circle. So, but still, even with that thought process that maybe being average isn't so bad, something about it still just eats away at me deep down. Because there's always going to be a part of me that wants more. I've always been a very hard worker my whole life, whether it was my schoolwork, sports, YouTube. I want to make something good, or at least I want to always feel like I'm doing something as opposed to sitting on my ass and just rotting away. It always pissed me off when I'd have people who were just like, I could tell they just don't do anything with their life, and then they complain that they're not good at anything. It's like, buddy, you're not even trying. It's like I've tried like my fucking hardest at about everything I could. I mean, sports, art, YouTube, like all this shit. I've given it what I could, and what I could give wasn't enough. And I shouldn't say that it wasn't enough, but it's like it's tough to be the best at something. It's tough to get to that 1% spot where you become a professional or you become extremely successful, and you could do everything right. You could do everything that somebody else does who is a professional and still not get there just by bad luck of the draw, man. This is really stupid, but as I get older, one of my childhood movies that I feel like sticks with me and resonates with me so much more is Monsters University, because Mike Wazowski has got to be one of the more relatable fictional characters. I feel like when we're younger, we all kind of relate to Sully more because he's kind of this. When you're younger, you're praised so much for what you do well, especially in elementary school. Like if you're good at something, the teachers are just constantly like, "Oh, you're reading at such a high level. You're comprehending math at such a high level. Your writing skills are so dynamic," and it's like you feel like everything's like shaping up to be like, "Oh, I'm more," and especially in my like generation, I was in elementary school like early 2010s, right? And so it's like that generation, I felt like they really tried to make every kid feel like they were special. Not that you're not, right? Like everybody is special, but they try to make everybody feel like they were exceptional. And there's a big difference there. When like every person is special. You're your own unique person. You're going to perceive things and interpret things in your own way. Always. That's something people can't take from you. Not everybody is the best. And these elementary teachers really like to make every kid feel like they were the best at something, even if they weren't. And I feel like that's kind of what we see in Sully's character. So as a kid and you're watching Monsters University, you feel a little bit more like Sully. And you get older and you reflect back on it, and real life is a little bit more like Mike Wazowski's story for almost everybody. And this isn't me trying to be like corny and be like, oh, it's so sad. I relate to him so much. It's just like, it's genuinely like relatable. Like there's no other way I can think to put it. It's just relatable. I think I have the quote memorized off the top of my head, but it's towards the end of the movie. Mike wants to prove that he is scary, right? And so he breaks into the door room and he takes the door to the human world to try to scare these children, right? And prove that he's a scary monster. And he sees the kid, he does a scare, and the kid laughs at him. The kid laughs in his face, and Mike's like set aback by this, and he kind of like doesn't know what to think, and he runs away or whatever, and Sully comes to find him, and he finds him, and Mike goes off on his tangent, and he just says, "You were right, they weren't scared of me. I did everything right. I wanted it more than anybody, and I thought if I wanted it more than anybody, I could prove that Mike Wazowski was something special, but I'm just not." And that quote hits so hard, not just for me, right? For so many people and for so many things, because that's so applicable to like anything, dude. I mean, anything in life, any shortcoming you've had, that scene is what it feels like. Most people have something they've worked towards since they were a kid, that was their thing. That was what they strived for excellence, for greatness. Just to realize it's just not going to happen, right? They just don't have the thing. They just didn't get the luck that they needed. They didn't, whatever it was, the stars didn't align. You're not going to become a professional athlete. You're not going to become a professional musician. You're not going to become an influencer. You know, any number of these things. And it's just, even though you wanted it more than anyone, even though you worked harder than anybody, it just didn't happen. And I'd be lying if I said, you know, I don't get down thinking about stuff like that sometimes, thinking about my shortcomings, thinking about the way I wish things could have been. Not only for myself, but, you know, for others too, who I care about. But that's just life, man. And you got to find your ways to deal with it and find your purpose. If it is your purpose and you truly love it, whether or not you become the best really shouldn't matter. Whether or not you become successful really shouldn't matter. This channel's dead as shit, man. I don't get views. Like I said, I'm not making videos that are gonna get views, because this isn't hyper edited dopamine maxing shit like every little kid wants to watch nowadays. It's just me talking. There's not much of a demand for this type of content, or at least there isn't for people who aren't already popular. I think there might be in the future. I think I already made a video talking about it, where I was like, people might want to listen to this kind of content more as AI stuff becomes more prevalent, because everything's gonna feel like slop, and it might be nice to just listen to a person actually talk for a little bit who's real. But yeah, man, if you have the chance, go watch Monsters University, rewatch it. If you haven't watched it since you were a kid, man, you'll perceive it a lot differently. Yeah, I think you'll really enjoy it. Alright, so I feel like the point of this video, or what I'm trying to get across, if you take away anything from this, is that just because, you know, your life might not have planned out or gone how you wanted it to from when you were a kid, doesn't mean you don't have purpose, doesn't mean you can't still lead a life that you're happy with, man. It's like, if I never become a professional athlete, I never become a YouTuber, never become a successful business person, whatever it is that you're trying to achieve or I'm trying to achieve, it doesn't mean you're worthless. You might not be as happy, you might not feel as fulfilled, but just got to keep living, man. Keep doing what you love. Do things that you can enjoy. I know me personally, that's what I've been trying to do. That's how I've been trying to approach things recently. When I start feeling down, I start feeling like I'm not doing enough, I'm going to do a YouTube video. I'm going to talk for a little bit. I'm going to draw. I drew for the first time this week. I haven't drawn in forever, and I start doing that again. I'm like, oh, this is something I can enjoy. This is something I can do. And also just remember what you have around you. But yeah, man, just keep doing your best, and maybe if you're lucky enough, you'll make it one day. We'll see ya.